Good morning. Happy Saturday. Welcome to your early morning intuitive guidance. I'm Dr. Bonnie Nussbaum here with some words of wisdom to get your day off to a great start, give you something to think about and feel about, and generally be more present in your life. So I see my little light beam is there shining into my brain. Always a good thing. Illuminate the brain, right? So we have a very cool card today. And good morning, Cindy. Welcome, welcome. You're the first one popping on today. And there's Miss Jo O'Neill. Welcome. Glad you are here. Let's see who else joins the crowd. There's Carolyn. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. All the practical rebels popping in here. This is good. And this is a message that runs a little, it might seem counter because our brains like to do this or that, us or them. But I believe it's a big, fat, gigantic, lovely and instead of those ors. So it is a card from the Allowing Prayers deck, 57 Invitations to Spark a Conversation with Your Soul by Siobhan Nash. Good morning, good morning. Thank you for the beautiful hearts and rainbow, Carolyn. Much appreciated. And this is food for thought, grist for our mill as we continue, good morning, Gwen, the path, the trajectory that we're on, and we're hopefully nudging that trajectory a little more steeply so that we accomplish more of what we're here to accomplish, who we are meant to be, the unique light that we're meant to shine in this world. And I grabbed the book I'm currently reading also. Good morning, Janine. Welcome, welcome. Just because I think the subject of this book dovetails beautifully with today's card. So, give me a second here. Yes, I want to do some rounds of tapping, just a couple of rounds of tapping to kind of clear the playing field, open up space for these two questions to percolate today for you and for your answers to kind of bubble to the surface. So let's start. Side of the hand. Again, you can do either sides by the baby finger, karate chop spot, however you want to look at it. I like doing both hands together. Again, I like more bang for my buck. So we'll do call response, repeat out loud after me. Even though I'm not sure what steps are next, I'm ready to show up for me and others. Even though I'm not totally sure what my mission is here tonight, today, we'll start with today, I'm willing to follow the path. Even though not everybody's going to get what I'm about, I am willing to stand out. Inside corner of the eyebrows, stepping into my full self. Outside corner of the eyes, doing what I came here to do. Good morning, Laura. We're just doing some tapping. Under the eyes, being fully and unapologetically me. Under the nose, knowing that I bring something nobody else does. Under the mouth, knowing that there are people waiting to hear from me. Collarbone, and I can carry my message quietly. Under the arms, and yet powerfully. Around the crown of the head, I'm ready to be the beacon. Inside corner of the eyebrows, I'm ready to be fully me. Outside corner of the eyes, I'm ready to speak my truth. Under the eyes, here's a good one, I am ready to let go of people pleasing. Under the nose, I am ready to be truly myself. Under the mouth, but what if people get upset? Collarbone, I don't have to take that on. Under the arms, perhaps I'm the opportunity for someone to look at something they need to look at. And around the crown of the head, I am ready to get down to business. Nice deep breath in and out. And if you notice discomfort at any of those points, feel free to keep tapping just on that discomfort. So let's say someone was upset. Good morning, Abigail. Welcome. Someone was upset about the idea of upsetting others. Do rounds and rounds and rounds. Good morning, Mel. Just tapping on that. You can target anything. If it gives you that little zing, ooh, I'm not sure I'm comfortable with that one. Tap it all again and again and again. Do it over a couple of days. Do it over a week or two. Just keep working with whatever it is that's the discomfort point, and it'll allow you to expand beyond it. So, our card for today is allow fire. Allow fire. We've been working a lot on leading in ways that suit us, and some of us are more vocal than others. Some lead from behind. But this one is about truly finding your fire within, that passion that you have for whatever it is, and bringing that forth in a way that works for you and for others. Again, you might be feeling like, well, this has already all been talked about. Let's say your thing is global warming. Let's say your thing is positive child care. Let's say your thing is how well are we taking care of elderly people. Whatever your thing is, you may think, it's all been said already. It's all been done already. No. Because how you're going to say it is going to resonate with people differently than how others have said it. You're the only one with your unique voice. Yes, you might even say something verbatim that someone else has said, but because it's coming through you, you're the delivery system, it gets heard by some people who didn't hear it from the previous delivery people. So own that. You have things to speak about in this world. What's important to you? So here are 2 questions, and Cindy, if you wouldn't mind posting them, I would be eternally grateful. First one is, where in your life do you feel your internal fire growing cold? Where in your life do you feel your internal fire going cold? And I'll share my example with that for the project, the affordable housing project that we were building at Zion Lutheran Church in Appleton. I felt my ardor, my passion, my drive getting damped down. Thank you, Cindy, much appreciated. Getting damped down and doubt creeping in and all kinds of things as more pieces of the puzzle, good morning, Beth, welcome, come into view that makes it seem as though my part, what piece I'm excited about, the intentional community, may not happen or may be more difficult to engineer. Good morning, Diane, from several states away. So glad you're traveling. Maybe more difficult to engineer because it's not fitting in a traditional paradigm. If you ask affordable housing developers how they fund their projects, you're in Ohio also. That is where Diane is. What a hoot. The world is smaller than we think, right? And there's the piece. What we need is out there. We can cross paths with what we need. We can open ourselves, be the beacon. I have no idea how I'm going to get this thing done. I'm open to receiving. Allow it to flow to you. But part of what was damping my ardor was, so this can't, my piece, what I'm most excited about, can't be part probably of the bigger development because of the funding. If there's government funding involved, they don't want anything to do with something that's different. They want cookie cutters so they can get it done and have more housing. I get that. Does that mean it's impossible to do it a different way, especially for the part I'm interested in? No. Impossible. I am possible. There's always a way. But needing to steep myself again and again in that, if this is what I want to accomplish, needing to put my time and attention and belief and faith and trust on that. Okay? Here's our second question. What do you need to fuel that fire so you can keep showing up in the world as your true self? doing the work only you can do. What do you need to fuel that fire so you can keep showing up in the world as your true self, doing the work only you can do? So now let's talk about this. Because they're using the analogy of fire, let's go with it. So let's say that fire has been just smoldering for a while. What do you do to reignite a fire? You poke it with a stick. So imagine that. You have this fire in your belly for something. And maybe you've bumped into a bunch of the naysayers, or maybe you've bumped into a bunch of the red tape, or maybe you've bumped into opposition, downright opposition. What would be some ways to poke that fire? And when I've been teaching myself about community organizing, one of the tools they use is called agitation. And that's about poking that fire, rekindling those flames, sometimes in uncomfortable ways. So sometimes when I watch a community organizer work, I'll go, wow, they're kind of combative. Yes, I'll repeat it. Give me a second. Good morning, Paula. Welcome, welcome. But community organizers in the Midwest need to get past Midwest nice. They need to be able to poke the bear a little bit, ask questions. Yes, community organization can be like herding cats. Yes, yes, yes. It can also be pretty uncomfortable for those of us, women of a certain age, however you want to frame things, who've been trained to go along to get along. To speak up, truth to power, can be really uncomfortable, but it's so important. It's so important. If you think about women who have done that over the course of history, they weren't comfortable. They weren't comfortable, but they were willing to tolerate the discomfort in order to effect change. So here's that second one again, Cindy. What do you need to fuel that fire so you can keep showing up in the world as your true self, doing the work only you can do? And again, there may be, I'm going to make up a number, 5,000 people across the nation doing the work you do, but you're all going to be doing it slightly differently, and you're all going to be calling to different folks out there. Thank you, Cindy. Thank you, thank you. So I wanted to give you a good example of this kind of agitation. This book is about Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Good morning, Ashley. Glad you are here. Welcome, welcome. And it was written by Jonathan Eig, E-I-G. I think that's how you say it, Eig. Look how fat this thing is. 557 pages of talking about how this man came to be the community organizer and leader he was. And he started out relatively quietly. One wouldn't know this unless you had maybe seen him speak, etc. But he was kind of a short guy. 5'7", I believe. Kind of a short guy. But when you've heard him speak from videos, etc., can you feel the energy that's there? Doesn't matter what the package is. Doesn't matter. The authority, the power, the self-sovereignty of, I have a message, it needs to be heard, makes a huge difference. Makes a huge difference. And allowing your fire. So I'd love to have some of you put in the feed. There's 13 of you on here right now, and there'll be probably 100 by the end of the day. Put in the feed. What is it that matters to you? I'll pitch another one of mine out there. So housing is one, but another one is taking good care of our water. And so I was very pleased the other day when I was driving around, going to thrift shops, that I passed another house that has the sign out front about taking good care of our water and letting go of line 5, pursuing having line 5 withdrawn from our beautiful country. Doesn't belong here. Doesn't belong here. So, what about for you? What are the things that matter most to you? What are the things where you invest your precious time and energy, and it feels like an investment to you. It's kind of when's the best time to plant a tree? 20 years ago. When's the second best time? Today. Today. Abigail likes feeding people who are experiencing homelessness. Absolutely, absolutely. And one of the things I think a great community organizer would be able to do is get people to the table who have those negative, simplistic attitudes towards people who are experiencing homelessness. How do you get them to show up? Because the last event I went to about people experiencing homelessness was everybody, it was all of us preaching to the choir. The only ones who were there were the ones who are looking for solutions to the plight of people experiencing homelessness. There was not one person there who talks the typical stuff that you hear when you're out in the world. Well, they made their bed, now lie in it. Well, if they weren't a drug addict, this wouldn't have happened to them. You know, blah, 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 blah. They should have stopped having kids. Yeah, you're making it harder for people to get birth control. How's that going to work for us? But being willing to speak the things that need to be spoken. And in terms of things that, like, it's helping us with a paradigm shift. So I'm just going to pick that one because Abigail put it on the screen. Making sure people who are unhoused have decent meals is a good immediate emergent step. But we want to, if they're being thrown off the cliff, eventually we want to climb to the top of the cliff and figure out why are they being thrown off, and let's stop it there. Let's stop it before people end up unhoused. Let's address the issues of why people are unhoused and solve problems at the root instead of treating symptoms, right? Again, there was a woman here within the last 2 weeks who died in her car from health-related issues because she had gotten evicted because it was so costly for her health care. Yeah. So, where are you feeling the fire within you running a little cold? What can you do to stoke that fire again? Do you need to join a group that speaks to, yes, solutions versus band-aids? Absolutely, Brenda. Thank you. And people feel good about doing things like working at a soup kitchen, a food pantry, whatever. That's fabulous. But again, I'd love to see some of that energy get shifted into, let's solve the problem in the first place. What can we do differently here so that this problem becomes less of a problem? I'll give you another example. Oshkosh, which is a community about 20 minutes down the road from here, built a tiny house village for people experiencing homelessness, including people who have kids. And it's little bitty, it's a cute little village. There was uproar. There was tons of uproar about it. But if you drive past, it is this cute little place where people can stay for a period of time while agencies are working with them to find stable housing, which is not easy to do in this day and age. Many people are teetering on that edge of being evicted. And again, if you haven't read the book Evicted, please get it. It will help your understanding of what is it that's going on here. And you might want to do the la 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 la, it'll never happen to me. Don't be so sure. We're on the cusp of a huge increase in the number of people who are experiencing being unhoused because of, you can see the train coming down the tracks. You can see the headlight. Here we are. Yes, and compassion fatigue does happen. But one of the things that I think can help with compassion fatigue is rather than just recounting the things that have yet to be done, make a list. Let me find my little list here. Make a list. Here, dream, plan, do. That's the clip. And let me take them out so you can see. This is since I've moved here back to take care of my dad. One side, two sides, three sides, and I'm on the fourth side. And these are all little things. So I took a community organizing course. I connected with someone who is interested in the same thing that I'm interested in. I set up time to go see my son and my sister. Went to some events. I just put on here all the little things that I do. And then when I'm getting discouraged, I dig this out and I look at, wow, and I recently added 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. It's helpful to keep track. Yes, Diane and I, we were cruising around down in Oshkosh and found the little community and drove past. It is an option. Is it the only option? No. Is it a viable option? Yes. Are people going to live in 295 square feet forever? No. But for a period of time, because typically it's taking, what did they say, 25 to 45 days of people being unhoused before they find something more stable. So those who are chronically unhoused, that's a small group of the population. They may be the most visible people, but they are not the norm. The norm is people being without housing for a month or two, and then something changes. They sleep on the couch at a friend's house. They get a job again. They, with agency help, find a place that they can probably afford. Yes, temporary housing to hopefully get people on their feet. It is very hard to recover from whatever you're trying to recover from, whether it's a health illness, an injury, the loss of a job, someone else in your family having those issues, etc., etc., etc. It's very hard to recover from those things if you don't have a house, if you don't have a shelter, if you don't have a place to live, if nothing's stable, if it's that shifting sand under your feet. Okay, it's time. You got to be out of the shelter. It's the middle of winter. Doesn't matter. You're wandering around. And then you end up in a place like the library trying to shelter yourself, which doesn't go over real well either, right? Yes. Yes. And the children can then be back in school. If you're struggling with no food and no housing, it's really hard to get yourself to school. So, and education is a huge piece in moving, yes, housing first, absolutely. We start at the bottom of the pyramid. We can talk about glorious things like, what do you want to do post-high school? But if that kid doesn't have food, we have to start there. If that kid doesn't have a roof over his or her head, we got to start there. So, preaching to the choir. I know I'm mostly preaching to the choir here again. How do we community organize? I love the community organizers who can say, I've had this experience. I have been unhoused for a period of time. Let me tell you my story. Let me tell you what happened to me and how this came to be, right? So, today, how will you allow your fire? How will you poke those embers? How will you get some more fuel in that fire? It might be sharing a post on Facebook. It might be speaking your truth to somebody who makes a negative comment. It might be, and it can be simple as, well, I look at it a little differently. Would you like to hear how I look at it? If they say no, fine, then they're entrenched in their thought process, and so be it. But sometimes they might say, well, yes. So then you speak your truth without any interest in changing their opinion. You're merely putting another perspective on the table. Done. Good enough. Let those seeds perk. You have no idea what they'll do with that. Down the line, 6 months, they might see an opportunity to be of assistance through their church or whatever, and they might step up because of that conversation that you had. We don't always see very direct results as we go about our business here. Keep moving the needle forward. So that is our opportunity for today, stoking that fire within about something that you're passionate about, that maybe that fire has been kind of burning down to embers. let us help you. Let us support you with that. It is really hard to keep making headway with something when all you have around you is the negative Nellies. So let us help you counterbalance the negative Nellies. I had coffee yesterday morning with someone, and he was very helpful in terms of keep doing what you're doing. Yes, I know it's discouraging at times. Just keep moving the needle forward. Let us know what we can do to help. Blah, blah. Very helpful. I came away from that kind of heartened. I had a weird day yesterday, though. Energetically, I just felt spent. I even laid down for a half an hour. I never do that, because usually if I lay down and when I get up, I feel even worse. But there was something, and so I'm choosing to frame it as there was something shifting that just needed some space for that shift to occur. We'll see what comes up. So, have an awesome day. We will see you again tomorrow. Remember, you are capable, here it comes, you ready? Of far more than you think you are. Far more. Go forth and be your true self. Bye-bye.